accepted.
Hey guys, welcome to the tech capital of the world, Kernersville, North Carolina. My name is Bobby Day, CEO and founder of Coder Foundry. Kevin, it is a great day in the neighborhood here. How you doing today?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Working on some new updates for the site. We're gonna talk about today. So
Cool.
good stuff.
Yeah, we got some changes, got some new content for people that's out there live this morning.
We do. We
so
do.
We'll
definitely.
highlight that a little bit.
Hey, after we got off last on Tuesday, after we did the portfolio review show, which you guys seem to love, by the way, so we're going to do another one next week because we love doing them too. The Apple thing got announced, the new hardware from Apple. Wasn't an AR headset or a VR headset or any kind of headset. Which,
but a new chip.
But a new chip, which is nuts. Like literally the fastest thing you can buy right now in a brand new form factor machine too. You can only get it in this Mac Studio right now, which it's not cheap, but it's also not like, it's not Mac Pro prices. We're not talking, you can't spec one out for like 20 grand, right? It's like you can get one for like 8, I think, fully spec'd out.
But it's fast. 128
gig of RAM.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fast.
Do I want 128 gig of RAM? Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think
like it.
Awesome. I think that'd be cool. So that happened like literally right after our show on Tuesday. So yeah, so we didn't get to talk about that then. Let's talk about this real quick. Just somebody who's in the course here, Shane. So the Bootstrap 6 and self-paced course, is it too early to be excited whenever I have a light bulb moment of understanding of how and why something works? No.
And I just wrote back, it's never too early to get excited, man.
No, have lots of those. That's the best thing. That's the best thing when you get something and it's just like, you're going to have tons of those. Absolute tons of them as you go through that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, there's a guy in the current cohort, the virtual cohort, and one of his comments was, I have a new appreciation of like building websites now. He says, now I see the amount of effort and time it goes into building these things. He says,
I like that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So good luck, Shane. Keep after it, man.
Yeah, definitely. Give us an update when you have another one. We love hearing that. Definitely. Okay. Let's see. We're going to talk today about... we're going to do a Q&A, by the way. We will do that. We're going to talk about a slight update to the course. A slight update. Kind of we put some new stuff in there.
Yep. And it's free if you're already on it, you just get included. So we just, if you're in the subscription model, all this stuff is add-ons. There will be priced separately, and just to avoid any confusion, if you're a subscriber, you don't have to go buy it separately. So
this is added for everybody already. So if you have access to the course, you already have access to these two things already. So we launched a couple new things. We split out the Bootstrap part of the course. This allows us to be more modular and add to it if we want to, which we're going to. And build this out a little bit more. We can add some more stuff in here. So there's a whole new Bootstrap course here. It's a whole new section within your within the LMS here, I should say, and brand new content, which we're excited to talk about.
Yeah, the interview,
which is very cool. So I guess we have 132 things here, which means there's probably, I guess, with an intro video, that means there's actually 131 questions in here.
Yeah, 131 questions.
No, there's 20. It's actually 20 minus that, right? So it's 100 it's 111 because 20 of them are repeated, because the way this course is organized is you have your top 20 questions, then you have the kind of individual section questions. So there's top 20 are repeated within here, but there's also 111 more. So you want to talk about this a little bit, like why?
So I think this is important to understand, like when we talk about controlling the interview. And so like if you watch the first video, and let's say that you are a React developer, you'll see what we're talking about right away. Like, though these courses or these things may not be as relevant to you, but like if you've gone through the self-paced course and you're learning MVC and you're learning C#, all these things are directly related to the projects that we built. So like what we want to do is take an interview question and turn it into a demo. And I go through a pretty lengthy presentation on like how to do this, like your strategies and how you can do it. And so now what your job is to start with the top 20 questions and just know them like this off the back of your hand, because you're never going to be asked 100 questions during an interview. You're going to be asked maybe 10. And if you can take the very first interview question and turn that into a demo, you increase your chances of winning that role exponentially. You're going to win because you're showing things that work and you're showing code. So it's broken down into three sections. Number one is like the question. Then there's what we call the academic answer. Like, we give you the actual academic definition of all of these questions, the things that you should answer. And then we tell you that everybody does that. Everybody answers a question in the academic way, but we're going to teach you to take it one step further, where you give a concrete example. And so when you give an example of your code base that answers the question, it is a home run hitter the way to answer an interview question. Now, what you're going to learn how to do is to do that with or without a demo. And that's where we also give you a code gist of each one that you can go and look and say, okay, that's a code gist of an example code, so that you can start walking through code right in here. But what you really want to do is say, okay, that's the code gist they're talking about. Go to your code base of the things that you've built and use that there. But if you haven't built the blog yet, or haven't built the bug tracker or something like that, then you can find something maybe from the address book, or maybe something from Movie Pro that's very similar to this, and you can relate it to that one. So I think it's a super strong course. I don't think there's anything like this out, because most people don't understand this technique. And I think it's secret knowledge, because there's a certain class of interviewers that do this by default. This is their native built-in method of answering any question they ever asked. They always use concrete examples. But for some reason during the interview process, we feel like it's an academic code trivia questions, and we answer them and try to answer them in an academic way, and we just stop. And so, like, we say, what is MVC? And we say, well, it's model view controls a design pattern. Model gets the data, view shows the presentation layer, controller accepts requests, something like that. And they stop.
Right.
And so, like, if
they've
someone
given their
would
answer
just
at that point, it's like, that's it.
Just a little bit further, because, like, you got to understand, the interview question is designed for give you as the interviewee an opportunity to tell me you know how to code. And so now we're going to train you how to do this so that you can win a technical interview. And guess what? We only need to win one. We don't need to win 50. And so if we go on 10 or 12 technical interviews, by the 10th one, this will be built into your DNA, where you'll just be like reeling them off just like that. And then once you can do that, you nail 10 interview questions, you're going to get hired. And so you also, the other strategy that's we don't talk about that's kind of built into this is, like, if you take a question and you turn the answer from 30 seconds into 5 minutes. So, like, you say, all right, that's 30 seconds, but then you take a 5-minute explanation of the code or review the code base or whatever. What you're doing is reducing the amount of questions they can ask you, which is a benefit to you as a first-time interviewer. Yeah. Like, I want to
fire
take less questions.
As
many
you don't want to get into the quick fire questionnaire part.
No, you don't.
Because then it becomes a competition. Yeah. It's like a challenge for the person interviewing you. It's like, wow,
to trip you up.
Is this guy going to miss any? Yeah. Like, I'm going to give him like the hot. Let's go to the bottom. Like, you don't want to do that.
Let's go to the bottom. You don't rapid fire time, baby. Yeah. Like it's like Jeopardy overtime or something. You're rapid fire. We don't want to do that. We want to answer the top 3 questions for 100. We want to say MVC for 100, not MVC for 700. That's not where we want to be. We want to be in the easy softball ones. Turn them into demos. Demonstrate what we can do. The other thing is, if you redirect an interviewer to your code base and you pull them off the code trivia, you win, because then they're going to ask you questions you already know, and you're sitting there looking at the code base. It's like the answer's literally on the screen. So, like, all you have to do is just walk them through the code base. So I think that is the powerful thing, that we're going to change the way people interview, because I have seen it work with Coder Foundry grads over and over and over again. And you have to resist the urge of learning just data structure and algorithm questions, because that's the way Amazon and Google do it. And so maybe this doesn't work at Amazon. I don't think anyone's tried it. Just saying.
Love if somebody did. If somebody wants to give it a shot and report back.
Yeah. But maybe the questions would be different for an Amazon interview. But if you turned any of these data structure algorithm questions from academics to example code, you win. And that's the point of the interview. So you can add your own questions to this. Once you know the strategy, you can like your own questions. The other thing we do is like, we tell you to write down every interview question that you get. And if you get it, write it down. And if it's not in this 100, you can say, hey, hit us up on Coder Foundry. And we say, I got this question to interview. Yeah. What do you think? Or go Google it yourself and then just follow the strategy and build out your academic answer, build out your example answer, build out a gist that maybe you could show, or point towards a code base, something like that. So I think that's the strategy. And if people do it, they'll get jobs.
Also, for the top 20 questions as well, we had Antonio record an actual example of him answering the question too.
Yeah, look at our fresh new Star Wars set.
It looks good, right? So Antonio basically gives you the answer, the academic answer, then he gives you the just spoken example, right, without a demo, and then he also gives you the code demo as well. So all three of those things we have right now for the top 20 questions. We may add more to the others. We may not. Depends. Once you've kind of got the system down, it's kind of like, it kind of just becomes a bit repetitive, and it's like just lengthy. Yeah. We don't want to just do it for no reason. It's like you can kind of see how it's going to work for the other ones. If I kind of go back, you'll see there's some other ones that like this one, look, doesn't have a video, right? But you can kind of get the idea. Give you the question, the academic answer, and then we have the code examples as well. So anyway, we don't have a video.
You should be good.
Yeah, there's a lot in here. Like I say, 111. So there's plenty of stuff to be looking at. Plenty of stuff.
I think so. All right. So I see a bunch of questions coming in. So maybe there's some comments and things like that.
I'm just queuing them up. I'll queue them up. We'll get to that in a second. Cool. So one last thing.
If you got a burning question, just super chat us. If you want to buy us Thursday tacos, we'll definitely be appreciative if you want to. So
definitely. And I put the scoreboard up.
Let's show that leaderboard there. Look at David.
David's still up there with his $100. Like that's it's like nobody else is going to super chat now because nobody's going to beat David. So it's like it's okay. It's okay.
He made it rain. That's what David did.
Yeah, you don't have to like
just throwing out dollar bills, man.
Exactly. But David got a job, so I mean, it's it's all good. We definitely love what David's doing. So, speaking of money, we want to talk about course pricing.
So we do have a new price too. Like we're trying to figure out like pricing to make this as affordable as possible. So we got a brand new option out there. Before we had $99 a month and then $594 a year. We're like, okay, it is $49.50 a month if you do the math. Yep. And that's 50% off $99. And we're like, that's a pretty good deal. But you know what, Kevin, not everyone has $600. We get that. So we're going to add a third tier in.
Yep.
And so $420 over 6 months. So that gets it to, it's a little bit higher in the monthly, but it's less total cash outlay. Yeah. And so if you think, hey, I think I can run through the content, what I need in 6 months, this is the plan for you. And it's a little bit cheaper on the total cash outlay.
Yeah. So it comes out to be $70 a month.
Yeah. Something like that. So
99, if you prepay for 6 months, you get down to 70. If you prepay for the year, it gets down to $49.50, which is, and this price is a steal, basically.
Yeah, it is a steal. Which, if you look at other things, I think it's really inexpensive, considering that as we add to the content, it's like getting all of Udemy for one subscription.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So we're just gonna keep adding courses to it. Our whiteboard is completely full of things that are in development, things that we're building. The next thing that'll come out in the next short number of weeks will be the developer portfolio course, which I think is the most comprehensive build something from scratch template builder on the market. It's very complex. It goes from
there's a lot of like little things in it that I think are great.
Yeah, intermediate to advanced CSS all the way through. A lot of Bootstrap, and then we're augmenting Bootstrap, overriding Bootstrap. There's a lot of things to make something really, 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 really professional. So I think it's really good.
Yep. We're also, for the new courses we put out to you, by the way, we're going to give people the option of just owning them as well. That's something that people have asked for. Maybe they don't want to subscribe, but they want to just get the interview course or the Bootstrap course. So we're going to have that too. So this is a one-time purchase. So we're going to, any new course we add now, we're going to add those in just as an individual as well. So ultimately, the content from the .NET Bootcamp courses, we kind of piece it out, will kind of show up here as individual kind of courses that you can buy.
Right. And you'll probably see the piece out as we roll out .NET 6 through the spring and summer. So, all right. Cool. Well, that's our course, man. So go to learn.coderfoundry if you're interested and want to learn how to code, or if you're already in it. I hope these new additions help you out. And I'm really excited to see some of the feedback from the interview course when someone actually goes out and uses it and they say you're hired. I don't think, a lot of people think that you're going to lose an interview over this stuff. You're just not, man. Like if you're demoing code, you're going to win. You're just going to win. If someone says, I want to ask you my 20 questions, I don't care about your code, probably don't want to work there anyway. I just can't imagine anyone doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, because it's ultimately about the interviewer just wants somebody who can code, right? They want somebody who can do the job. Want. So however, the best way for you to prove you can do the job is to show them your work. Like, it's not whether you can just memorize an answer from a piece of paper. That doesn't show you can do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, look, I guess we answered your question. I didn't even see it. So yes, we are. There will be individual pricing for the courses too. So that's we know that when people want that as an option, you just want to own it permanently. So put that out there as well, not just subscription. Okay.
Cool.
We'll do some questions then.
Enough about us. Let's help people today, Kevin. See if we can help some people out and
let's do some
give them some advice.
Let me see. Actually, this is kind of about us. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So my daily life here says, with tons of videos, tutorials, and other resources available for free on the internet, I see people building a clone of Netflix and YouTube. Is that supposed to be impressive or not? I'm not sure. What does a bootcamp bring to the table?
It's talking about what do we bring to the table?
Sure, let's talk about us. We can talk about us.
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well.
So like, I think there are tons of videos, there are tons of tutorials, and there's all kinds of resources available for free. So we talked about how do I learn to code, all right? We feel like there's 3 ways, but there's self-learning route is one of the ways, okay? The self-learning route can be totally for free with some resources out there, okay? Here's the problem with the self-learning routes where you're cobbling together your own curriculum is that staying on a track of building something that's relevant. Can you do it? Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, but you can definitely do it. It will take you longer that way, and that's fine too. It is free, so like there's that. I think that is a perfectly acceptable way. People have done it, so I'm not here saying that our way is superior. Now, when you go to the self-paced course at Foundry, it's more of a guided experience that says, hey, learn these things. Do this, build this, build this, build this.
It's curated and it's guided.
Yeah, exactly. And then this is what I want you, at the end of the day, you're gonna come out of the portfolio with these projects, show it to them. Now we're showing you how to even use it during the interview. So we look at it as a way is to, how do I market myself as a developer? How do I build the things that are relevant to an employer that wants to look at my stuff? That's what we bring to the table, is bringing out projects that are relevant. That's why we build the bug tracker. That's why we build the blog. There's a lot of reasons why we do that. Second, and here's what I'm going to say, that where we're better than everyone else on the internet. Okay, and I know that sounds conceited, but
go for it.
Yeah, what I'm really looking at is ways for projects that are just completely weak, and that's what we're talking about. Like, so if you're going to some other bootcamp and the best thing you got coming out of there is a meme generator, just know when you come to Foundry, we're building enterprise grade projects. And I would say when you look at the bug tracker and you look at the things that are in it, there's very few people that, as a course creator, that create projects like this in their thing. Why? Because they probably can't build them. And so you're building things at an enterprise level, therefore you can qualify for an enterprise level job. And that's at Foundry, we never said, hey, this is easy. We say, we think this is necessary. Let's just go right here to the top and build the necessary things. And I think that's what's different about the projects we build here, is that they're enterprise grade, they're complex, they're difficult to build. It takes weeks, if not months, to build some of them, depending on how much time you're doing it. And so that's why we do it. So could you build a Netflix clone in YouTube? Yeah. Does it actually work? Or like,
well, no, it doesn't.
What is it? No, it doesn't. So does it play a whole movie? No. Does our bug tracker actually function as a bug tracker? Yes. That's the difference. It's an actual real project that does real things.
Right.
I was losing my voice. I had to get some water. Sorry.
I hope that
yeah. So I hope that helps there. I think our complex projects is where it's at. So that's what we bring to the table.
Okay. So this is David's question here. David said, self-teaching for a year and a half, trying to break in, applying with no callbacks, started for the session. So why do you think David's not getting any callbacks? we have theories about this.
Here's what I want you to look at, David, and I'm glad you're saying you got to figure out like where's the breakdown in. So you're applying and you're not getting any callbacks. So look at your LinkedIn portfolio, look at the resume that you're passing, and then thirdly, look at the portfolio that you're trying to present them to. The second thing is, if you're not getting any callbacks, are you doing any follow-up? Are you trying to reach them directly?
Yeah.
I would say that with LinkedIn, you can reach them directly via LinkedIn. Call the HR person, call the hiring manager. Hey, you're getting no's anyway, so like, it's not going to hurt to introduce yourself, you know? So like, try to be brave. The other thing is you need to be working with the recruiter and see if the recruiter can help you break in, because you know what the recruiter does? They call the hiring manager directly, you know? So, and they're passing the resume and your portfolio. You need to highlight what you can do on your LinkedIn profile. You need to make sure your LinkedIn profile has the keywords of the stack that you're interviewing for. And then your portfolio needs to have projects that show off that stack. If you do those three things, you'll get more callbacks and you'll get to an interview. So if you're looking in the self-paced course, there's in the very beginning of the self-paced course is how to market yourself as a developer. Watch that video, then come back and learn some stuff, and then watch the interview, which is a continuation of the how to market yourself as a developer.
Right.
So if you do all those three things, you learn some stuff, and then you learn how to market yourself, and then you do some follow-up, you'll be fine. Eventually you'll get it. But your projects could be weak, though. You got to understand. Go look, take a hardcore look at it, and say, "Hey,
get somebody to look
I'm
at your
doing strong enough."
Yeah, get somebody to look at your portfolio. Somebody you can trust who will be honest with you, not a family member who's going to tell you it's great regardless.
Yeah.
Just somebody who's going to be honest with you and tell you whether it's good or not.
Right. And David, if it's meme generator and tic-tac-toe are the top end of what you got, you need to aspire to do something a little bit more difficult, and then you'll get more callbacks.
It's shocking how far you can take a to-do list.
Yeah.
Right.
The great thing is it may hurt your feelings when you look at it right now and you're like, golly, man, I got a long way to go. You know, but what I want to motivate you is like, you know what? It's fixable. This isn't impossible. You can definitely do this. It's not impossible, dude. Like, all you got to do is just step your game up a little bit more on the portfolio side and make sure you're showing that portfolio to everyone that'll look at it.
Yep.
And then just call them back. I mean, if they don't call you, call them. So
there you go. Also, for your projects too, you're talking about like having like, you know, projects that we would consider weaker projects. Think about ways to, you don't necessarily have to make something new sometimes. You can just extend what you do have into something better. So I saw a guy who, it was a to-do list, right?
Right.
And he took a to-do list and made it into an inventory management system. But it's essentially the same thing. It's a CRUD app, right? It's a CRUD app. That's what it is. But he basically styled it around an inventory management system, and it got him his job. He got a job. He's in, where's he in? He's in Malaysia.
The skill isn't any different.
Wow.
It's just changing the way, the skin around it.
Yep.
And the skill to do either one is So the worst thing you can do is I saw some guy's portfolio and he named his app Yet Another To-Do List. That's like,
that's bad.
Bam, instant no. Like instant no callback. Like, yeah, I've seen all these to-do lists. Ooh, this guy built an inventory control system. Neat.
Yeah. Same functionality. It's literally a glorified to-do list.
So glorify that to-do list. Do something, recipes or
there's a ton of ways you can extend it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like inventory though, because it solves a business problem and everyone has inventory problems.
Exactly. So I spoke to this guy on a Twitter space and like he brought this app up and I was like, yes. I was like, this is genius. This you've solved a business problem with this thing. I'm like, trust me, you're gonna get hired. He literally came back the next week and he had a job.
So he got hired.
He got hired. Yeah. He got hired in a week after having this app up. I was like, wow, okay, it totally works. Very impressive.
Good luck, David. I hope that helps.
Okay, let's do Sinister Squirrel's question. Is it smart to take a cut in pay just to get my foot through the door? Just finished up a 2-year degree and still working on my portfolio, but I would like to get into the field ASAP. So this is somebody who's not a developer. I'm guessing.
So I'm assuming you're not a developer. Let's say you're making $70K and you're doing claims adjustment somewhere. You're making $70K, and every time someone wrecks the car, you write the insurance out. And then you go and learn how to be a developer, and your first job is $45K, and it seems like a step back, and it is a lot of ways. But what you got to think about is the path. So the the high end on the dev market, obviously average for 5 years is around 100K in the US. So like, you just got to get to 3 years. You're going to get another pay increase.
Yep.
Your claims adjuster job you may be maxed out right now. You're like, I'm the best one in the business. This
and
is
that's
kind of what I
generally
make.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of what I make. It's nice. And so whereas dev can get you above that. So the first job that you take is not for the money, it's for the experience. And that is the most important thing you can grab is take a job where someone's willing to pay you anything, eat rice and beans for 1 year, go out and get a raise. Then work for another year or another 2 years. And then the third or fourth year, go out and get another raise. And then by the time you're 5 years in, you're exactly where you want to be.
We've seen people do this, haven't we? We've seen people do this the other way, where they will come to the boot camp. They were making a 6-figure salary. Maybe they were in sales or something. They came out of the boot camp like, I need another 6-figure job. Like, well, you're not going to get a 6-figure job out of the boot camp. And they literally don't take the jobs and never ever break in. We've had multiple people do this, and it's like, because they just won't listen.
And we understand it.
Like, I get it.
I get it. Well, you want to do it, but you got to realize that you've got to start over, and then as you build up your experience, you can overcome and be better at it. There's a reason people get into dev, because it does pay well, especially at the 5 to 10 year range. It pays exceptionally well, and it pays like no other jobs do. But you have to get there. You don't start there. So for all the guys on Twitter saying, "Hey, my first job out of Hack Reactor was $225 in San Francisco," I'm like, A, I think they're lying, and B, that's very uncommon if they're not. There's something else in their profile that you don't see. They're just showing you this one little component, and like maybe they've been a dev with other stacks before or something like that. So
I've seen Joe using a term recently. He uses the term, "You're not seeing the full car facts."
It's just not.
You're not seeing the full car, and I like that term. I think that totally works. I think he's coined a thing there. I think it works. You're not seeing everything else that's part of this person's history, because maybe they did get that, but you're right. But they've got like a PhD in something, and it's literally moving into the field that they have a PhD, and they can now they've now just added coding into that as well. So it's not entirely true. I think it's okay to take a step back, because you will take 2 steps forward. I think that's kind of the takeaway from that.
Yep. Hope that helps, Sinister.
Okay. Michael wants to know, how do I land a fully remote job? And then a follow-up, how do I convince them to hire me?
Portfolio demo during the interview. The other thing is you can go to Indeed and just look for remote jobs. There's a lot of websites that have just remote jobs only, and you can just restrict your look for there.
Yeah, it's like one of those like search terms now, isn't it? That's like baked in. It's like you just click in on Indeed. It is. Yeah. You click the check button for remote, and it gives you just the remote.
Let's just talk about what remote is to some companies and what it's not. So like remote, if you're in, let's say you're trying to get a remote job in the US, but you're in another time zone like Australia, or you're somewhere in Asia, or you're in Europe. That's a harder sell because of the time difference. You got to understand that. That means that you're going to have to do more on the due diligence side with them to prove that you can do it. That means a strong portfolio is even more important. People do this every day, though. They're working remote from another place. The second thing that you've got to overcome is if you're on a 12-hour difference with them, you might say, okay, I'm willing to work the third shift from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. To do that. So those other things. So if you're trying to get into the U.S. market and you're outside the U.S., then the time zone is important, and you're going to have to do more on proving that you can do it. Now, let's say that you're in the U.S., but you're on the West Coast and you're going into East Coast. You also got to overcome a 3-hour difference. So you got to position yourself like, hey, yeah, I'll be up at 6 a.m. I'll do that to make sure that I can hit meetings, or 5 a.m. That's not a problem for me. So unfortunately, if you're on the East Coast, you have the best of both worlds. You can get up late and work later, so that's where East Coast bias comes in, where we are. So it's more easier if you're on the East Coast to call into a Midwest market and work backwards than it is for the coming the other way. But it is what it is. Ultimately, at the end of the day, build a really strong portfolio of projects. Show that to them, make sure they can see it, make sure you can demo those things during an interview. And that's the only way you can do it. But you can start with Indeed to say remote only, And I think there's a website, software remote jobs, or just Google.
Yeah,
it.
there's a
There
few
is
of those
one out
coming
there.
up now. It's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, where you can just look into those and see kind of what's available to you. And if you're outside the U.S., don't just concentrate on the U.S. Concentrate in Europe, London, all these other places have work too. It's not just the FANG companies in the U.S. that a lot of people look at us from the outside in, and they're like, I want to work at Google, Facebook, or whatever. And we're in the U.S. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, there's
a million other places
billion
you could
other
work
ones.
at.
Yeah. So like, just think about that. So hopefully that helps.
Let me go back to David real quick. So he just said thank you, and he has a one real world project, 6 total. He thinks it's his resume he's pushing. I actually put a tweet out yesterday about the resume because it's. I saw a resume and it kind of stuck with me, and I was like, the resume that I was looking at was like a chronology of just like regular just jobs, right?
All right. So I have no idea who David is. Okay, David, I'm going to just lay out the worst case scenario here. If this isn't you, just take it as advice. I'm not talking about you.
Or for anybody else.
I'm looking at, Coder Foundry students that come in and they have a resume that looks like I delivered pizza, I worked in this restaurant, or
that was kind of what this one looked like.
Building construction and so
and there was like 9 of these jobs.
None of those help you get in a dev job.
Yeah.
And so you want to put your experience first and you need to put it last.
Yep.
At the very top of this resume needs to be in like 26-point font, the URL to your resume. I was talking to someone on Discord the other night. Yeah, portfolio, yeah. And he was like, well, this guy was coming out of, I was trying to help a guy, and he was coming out of a school of the arts and trying to land a job in theater. And I said, do you have a portfolio? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, why is it on your resume? He goes, well, my instructor said it's not clickable, therefore I shouldn't put it on a piece of paper. I'm like, well, how are they going to find it? So like, just because it's a URL and it's not clickable doesn't mean to do it. And then I asked a follow-up question. I said, have you ever sent this out as a PDF? And he goes, I do it all the time.
You can make it clickable, right?
You can make it clickable in the PDF. So so just trust me when I say this. The best thing you have to show experience is your portfolio. So you've got good comments in that portfolio. That's at the top of the page, and it's like this. It's like H1 type territory. Click on this, click on this. Then take the project that you built and add that to above your experience thing. Hey, I built this project on the portfolio, and put the keywords of the technology stack that you used and give a paragraph of detail of what it does. Then add the pipe fitting, the pizza delivery, the Uber driver, or whatever it was at the bottom. Those things really don't matter.
I would keep them only to the most current things too. You have to list the last 9 things. List the last 1 or the last 2.
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter.
And in your bio, the top of your bio that reads, it should read like, here's the things that I can do. I can do this, this, and this, and this. I am a developer. Versus where people will say, if someone just gives me a chance, I can show them what I can do, looking for a company that will give me a chance. Never beg for a job, because that shows you as you're not qualified to do it when you have to beg for a job. You don't need to beg for a job. Just tell them what you can do. And if what you can do lines up with what they need, you'll get a job. So I think that'll help.
Yep.
But look at that resume hard, man. Like,
see, the thing is, I would give this advice. Like, you have to, historically, we've always thought of our resume as just being this chronology of our past, right?
Yeah. And
we have to reframe that. And this is what I tweeted about yesterday. I was like, you have to stop thinking of your resume that way and think about it. It's not a background check. It doesn't matter what you did. If it doesn't help you in what you're changing to now, don't include it. Don't show it.
Right.
People have this thing like, well, I need to show that I have work history for the last 20 years. Like, you don't. You don't. It doesn't matter. What matters is you have to think about your resume as a sales tool. You're selling yourself. You need to show what you can do right now, what you've worked on, what's going to matter in this next job, not what you did as an Uber driver, because it doesn't matter. They don't care.
We had a guy that came through Coder Foundry, and for years he put that he was incarcerated on his resume. I'm like, why are you doing that, man?
Yeah.
Because it's going to come up.
If they do a background check, they're going to find it anyway. Like, you don't want to just,
yeah, but if it's 7 years or older, it won't. That's what I told him.
That's true too. They may not. That's it. They may not. That's true.
everyone has skeletons in their closet. We don't need to show them to everybody in our first conversation. Like, just say, this is what I can do. This is what I can do for you. And if they find out later on, you can say, yeah, that's, in the back of the chat comes up. Yes, I was, whatever happened,
Or, we're never saying lie about that. Like if it comes up on a survey or something, you have to fill it in. But you don't walk into an interview and be like, oh yeah, dude, by the way, I was incarcerated for 7 years. Nice to meet you. Like that would be insane.
Yes. What'd you do in your former life? I was an assassin for the mob, but right now I want to be a web developer.
right. Assassin turned web dev. If there are any in the chat, we'd love to talk to you because I would love to see how you transitioned from that to that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's easy for them. They say, well, you can hire me.
Yeah, you're going to hire me, right?
Right? You're going to hire me, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
So yeah, we can talk about.
I hope that helps, David. Get a job, man. Hopefully it helps. Let's see what else we got.
Let's see. Focus says, greetings from Orlando, Florida. Cool. I like Orlando, by the way. You like Orlando too, don't you? You like Orlando too. It's nice and warm there, and I like the Disney stuff. Haven't been to the new Star Wars stuff, but would love to go. Yesterday I thought I'm going to create a portfolio website for a friend, then BSCF nav and BSCF contact. I'm 80% done.
Boom.
That's awesome. So if you don't know what that is, we have an extension built for VS Code.
In the VS Code.
It's a bootstrap. And hence the BS, Bootstrap, Foundry is what the BFCF stands for.
Yeah, it's built on Bootstrap 5.
Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff that you can basically just type in shortcuts and it'll fill out the HTML for you and the Bootstrap for you, and it's great.
We have the landing page one too. There's a landing page in there too, Focus, if you didn't know. The BS
you build a whole landing page just in one command and it does the whole thing for you. It's great.
Yeah.
I've used it a bunch. Like, it's great. Yeah. There's some modules in there. You can build out whole pages, you can build out certain elements, like you have there nav and contact for contact form. But there's whole pages in there too you can build out. It's great.
Yeah, if you got that, while you're doing, you go Visual Studio Marketplace. Maybe you pull up the website and show it to them. But if you get a second,
I'll do
we'll ask some more questions here while you do that.
This only takes me a second because I was just here the other day actually. Let me go here. Look. So VS Code. If we do Bootstrap 5, we are right here. Look.
Okay, how many downloads we got now?
27.2K.
Nice.
Pretty good. We got 5 stars. So thank you for everybody that has downloaded it and rated it.
And give us 5 stars. Keep ranking that thing. You got 12.
Yeah.
Go give us 5 stars. Someone get us to 13 at least today.
Yeah. Go see. Look.
There's the landing page.
These landing pages. Look. Landing page. A login form. It's cool. This is good. It's cool. That saves a bunch of time, doesn't it? It's a quick page. Little card with a header, little accordion stuff. Yeah, just some tables, just some built-out stuff, and you just you type the command in, and it just throws it in VS Code for you. Nice and easy.
Yep. It's free, totally free. So just check it out.
And it's free.
It's pretty cool.
Okay. Talk about this one. Medjed says, Medjed Leet. I like it. What do you think? Which is easier or faster route to get a job? Okay, easier or faster? Okay, grinding certs, like the ones listed, so on, or do the web dev self-taught route.
What do you want to do? So if you want to do like network security stuff, fine. If all you care about is get a job, I'm going to be biased here. I think web dev's probably the faster route, but just because I feel like that's what we teach and that's what we know.
No, I think it is. I think it's.
You already know Python, so build some websites with Python. I know you won't use our course to do that. I get it, but like, there's some frameworks for Python that you can use to build websites with, and then interview for those companies that are using that. Now, if you have a hard time finding Python web dev jobs, then maybe, ASP.NET, C# is a better route. I think there's more opportunities there. But since you already know that language, I'd pick up a framework in and around Python, build some websites with it, and go from there. I wouldn't grind certs. I don't know if certs necessarily help. I think they're maybe necessary in
I think
some
it's
of those
nice
things,
to have.
but like having a portfolio and showing people stuff that works is probably the faster route. I don't think it's easier. Don't think it easier. Think of what's necessary to do. Build some projects and get a job. So
yeah, I think the certs don't carry as much weight as you think they do. They're kind of like, they are like a nice to have. If you can prove you can do the job in another way that's not the cert, they're going to hire you just because you can do it versus a piece of paper.
And it's easier to show what you can do as a web dev than it is the other stuff. For sure. All right, cool.
Okay. Let's see. Mickey Sticks says, open question. Would you consider it to be more valuable to have a single large project or many smaller projects for someone who is trying to break into the development field?
Or a mixture of both.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where you have to build smaller things to be able to build a bigger thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
so
think so.
It's the answer is kind of both. It's not either or. You have to use the small ones.
Once you build the bug tracker, for example, if you go through our thing and you build the bug tracker, that's going to be your primary thing that you're going to demo. In other words, when you demo, you're demoing this big thing that you make. On your portfolio has all this other stuff too. So it's more like rounding out you as a developer where they can see, okay, he's done more than one thing here. This guy knows what he's doing. He's built a lot of stuff. And I think that's the benefit of going through something like Learn.Foundry, where we build 5 or 6 JavaScript projects, 3 C# projects. You may tend to show the bug tracker off every time you demo, but when they look at your portfolio, they see lots of things going on. So it's kind of cool.
Okay. Let's see. Thakur says, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. Thakur or Tacker, maybe. How to get grips on projects to solve daily tasks quickly if you're on your first dev job.
So just break it down into the smallest component and solve the smallest component. So try to break the problem down as small as you can, and
it's okay to ask questions.
It's ask questions to the person above you to say, hey, I don't understand quite what's going on here.
Yeah, they're not necessarily hiring you when you're first coming in, you're not being hired necessarily for your ultimate skill, right? They're paying you as like they know what they're kind of getting, right? Somebody who may be able to solve some things, do some things on their own, but is going to need some help too, right? So they're not hiring a senior. They're not going to throw you in the deep end. And if they do, that's a potential problem. So you should be expected to ask questions and kind of work through things.
Get after it.
Yep. Let's see. Troy says, I probably asked before. I don't know. Just wondering if you guys will add a section regarding database first approach, as most big companies will likely have an existing database to work with.
I can do that. I haven't thought of it doing it that way, but we definitely could do something the reverse. I'll take that as the to do.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
an interesting
when
idea.
Yeah. So you let the database generate the models, so we can definitely do it that way.
Let's see. Oh, here's a good suggestion from Mikey too. You had a tutorial either on here or through the course on how our LinkedIn profile should be set up for the best results.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
I just haven't done it yet.
That's something that's kind of on our board too. We've kind of been thinking about that. We do need something around LinkedIn. It is super important. Yeah. We talk about it all the time, and it is one of those things. If you don't have it, you ain't gonna get hired. Like you're diminishing your opportunities because recruiters won't find you on there, companies won't find you on there. And trust me, speak to a recruiter and ask them where they find people. It is almost exclusively on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively. That's the only place, that's the only tool they're using. They're spending tens of thousands of dollars for a recruiter seat for a reason. And it's to find people. And if you're not on there and you're not doing it right, then
so I'll give you a hint, Mikey, or just one advice is to make sure that in your section that you list keywords that you want to be found for. So if you pull up any LinkedIn profile, we can pull one up right now.
You can actually put it right under your name, can't you?
Yeah, right
that's
under
the
your
other
name.
Too.
You pull whoever, mine or somebody's.
Do you have yours set up that way? I don't know if you have yours set up that way.
I don't know. I don't even know what's on it. Like, let's look at it. Maybe I need to fix it for myself.
Maybe, but you're not looking to get hired, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
I'm trying not to get hired.
Maybe it's one of those things. It's like, what do I do? It's like, does it matter? Like, here you go. But you do though. So hold on. Let me go right here. There we go.
All right. So right there where it says author, educator, whatever. This should say
author,
React,
developer.
HTML, Bootstrap, .NET developer, something like that.
Yep.
And you name check the stack that you're interested in, the keywords, because that's what they're looking for.
Here you go. A bearer is a good example. Look.
Yeah. There you go. Just like that. So what happens here is that field and LinkedIn is where the search is looking for when they do a search. So if I go search for a person, you can go search for a .NET developer. If I go search here and I say .NET developer, say I'm looking for one, it's looking at those that first section there. And so Barry Taylor came up first. Let's just go look at Barry. He's getting.
Why did Barry
he's
come
gonna be
up
famous
first?
today.
So there you
we
go.
don't know.
He's literally
there you go.
.NET
Right there.
Developer.
Boom.
Yeah, and he's local too, so that's why it came up as well.
Yeah.
So that's why he knows where I am.
Hello, Barry. How you doing?
So
Barry's like, why am I on this channel?
I was like, who's this guy clicking on my name? What does he want?
So it's looking at those that underscore, the subtitle there, as its keyword search. And so if you maximize that, you'll get more. They'll find you more. So let's look at Kyle. Look at Kyle. We'll look at Kyle's LinkedIn. We don't know who Kyle is either. There you go.
Kyle's in Pennsylvania, though. Again,
yeah,
full stack .NET developer. Yep.
See how I found him? I don't even know who he is.
Yeah. Well, it's a second connection to me, which means we have a mutual connection somewhere. I have a mutual connection with 3 people. So that's also that also helps too. Building out your network will push people to the top of that list as well. So that's another reason. If I go back, look, you'll see these are all second connections. Look, that came up for me. It realizes that it's not going to show me a first because it realizes like, oh, you're already connected with those people. It's showing me seconds first.
But to show you how to work, let's do C# developer, Kevin, and see what comes up. And you see Barry won't come up. Someone different.
No, but look, it says C# right here.
Yep. So you need to put all of those keywords in
DJ,
there.
I do know.
Yeah, we do need. Yes, he's still at Terminix. Yeah. DJ came from us from Coder Foundry. And was
DJ in the first or second cohort, right? He's in one of the very early cohorts, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's a developer at Terminix. Right.
Yeah, he's done a good job.
Yeah,
he's been out there for 3 years.
3 years, yeah. So maybe he wasn't the first one. I think he was in the first one when I joined, maybe. I just remember him being there.
Yep.
There you go.
So see how those keywords work. Hope that helps, Mikey. And just do that right now. Just add the keywords in that section. And I liked what Abir did. She put the pipe between each one. And
kind of to separate them. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you can just keyword smash it.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what's up. This has got something.
Hold on, look. Also, we need to review his LinkedIn. Let me find you. I think we connected on that, right? Let's see what you got.
Okay. Let's review his LinkedIn. Do you know you got it? You found it? There he is.
Oh, nice banner.
See, he's done it.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Nice
Look
banner.
at that banner.
This is exactly the right thing too. Look, he knows what
he's also here's another thing that Paul's done here that people way underestimated. Obviously, he's either really good with Photoshop or he had a professional picture done, or it could be both. There's a little contrast in that picture, and so what you can do is just make it look cooler. You know, I mean, like just by taking a great picture. Now, if you take a bad picture, you know, one thing you can do is you can black and white it. You can do whatever you want to do, but like if you have a great picture, it just helps a lot.
Yep.
So, and he's got his keywords in there.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
There you go.
What are you doing? What are you doing now? Is this you now?
He's on contract. There we go.
Yeah,
cool.
Awesome. I like it. Oh, your banner's killer.
I like it.
It's good.
It is a good banner.
Let's see. What's the next question? So Richard wants to know, after MVC and API, what do you recommend would be the next design pattern?
So MVC is the way to go right now, just because you can build CRUD apps with it easily. API, you need to know them both, actually. API is very similar to Model View Controller and how it works. It's just that there's not a design pattern necessarily with API. It's just you make a RESTful endpoint and you call it and it returns JSON. So, but both of them are probably very useful. If you learn MVC first, then when you go to the APIs, they look a lot like controllers. They just have they inherit from a different object in the .NET. And so like it just does something a little bit different, but for the most part, they they're kind of the same. And but I think knowing them both is very essential. There'll be some API stuff coming in the course soon.
Okay.
Hope that
The
helps.
next one, Mickey Sticks had another question. So I guess that's tech director, not tech doctor. Tech doctor sounds like a cool job. I want to be a tech doctor. But I'm guessing that's a tech director. Currently, I want to move to dev. Should I avoid portfolio projects related to my current company and stick to things unrelated / personal to avoid any conflicts?
So if you have a conflict, if you have like exposing of proprietary information, you can't use that. So you have to make something personal.
Yeah, be careful with that.
Now, what you can do is reference those things. Say, hey, I built this, I built that, I built that. And then you can't demo it because it's not your property and maybe to give away a trade secret or something like that. So don't get sued. But you can reference it. You might not be able to show it. So you want to build something you can show. That's what I would do.
Yep.
So that's always going to be your own project anyway, because you want to walk them through the code base and things like that. So I would just build something on my own.
I'm going to jump around a little bit here because Luke has an interview in an hour. That's cool.
Go, Luke.
That's cool. I like it.
You got this, man.
Yeah, you got
it. Go look at the interview course. See if the top 20 questions make sense. You got an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get the top 3 down.
He has a question too. So thoughts on Tech Systems IKM C# assessment test?
They do take it through Tech Systems when they do it. We don't proctor it here at Code Foundry.
Yeah. But yeah, they were. I mean, their assessment is very on point. We do know that. Like it's very it's very like, what do I want to call it? It's like they're not going to test you on stuff that they don't want you to kind of know. So it's kind of there's that. And it's stuff that you should have learned.
You can practice that too, Luke, if you want to. I mean, you can really practice it, but
I'm guessing you've already done it,
here.
right? You have an interview, right? So I'm guessing you've already done it to get that far. It's one of the first things they can have you do. So.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one next. What salary should you strive for if you have 1 year of experience?
Less about the money, more about the experience. Get the most you can get in the first year, and then after that first year, go get a raise. That's what
it's going to depend on where you are. This is totally
where you live and where you're located and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So here in North Carolina, I think you should strive for over 40K per year. That's what we present students at over. Yeah. So, but it's not as important as
that second job. You can easily add 20, 30, even 40. You can even double it sometimes. Depends on the.
But if you're committed to your craft, really good at what you do, you interview well, you can make more money. So it's about the second year, not the first year.
Yep.
Hope that helps.
Let me go to Brittany's question. Brittany said, I have a self-taught programmer question. I'm looking to mobilize my workspace, PC or Mac.
Whatever you want. I mean, like, so I don't know what you do. I don't know what you're coding on, but like if you're working on mobile applications and you have to compile iOS apps, then you gotta have a Mac.
You have no choice. We're not just saying you should get a Mac. We're saying you literally have no choice. Like you have to get a Mac.
But if you're working on websites and you're using any of the web things, and you're just using VS Code to build things, you can run either one you want. If you're going to use Visual Studio, if you're using Visual Studio, then it's definitely superior on PC.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? If you're doing C#, .NET, Visual Studio stuff, I would say a PC is probably a better route. I would say anything else, a Mac is a better route, but I'm biased towards Macs anyways. I just like the Macs. I think they're, especially these M1 Macs too, they're killer.
Now, let's also talk about this. Let's talk about budget. What's your budget? Okay, PC is going to be cheaper in general.
Yeah.
Can you buy a $4,000 PC? 100% you can. Can you buy an $800 Mac?
Exactly. You can't buy an $800. Well, you can't. Can you? Buy a used one. I mean, you could do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But buying a used MacBook Air ain't going to get you very far. You're going to spend $2,500, $3,500 on a decent MacBook Pro. But I will also say, I kept my last MacBook Pro, which I think was probably $2,500 back in 2015. I kept it through 2021.
Right.
Like, that's a long time for a laptop. Your $800 Windows laptop probably isn't going to last that long. The specs aren't going to be good enough to keep you going for that long. So there is that too. It's like one of those things like, buying a quality item versus just buying something that's lower quality and keep flipping it out. Because you might like that too. You might like getting a new laptop every year. Buy a new $800 laptop every year. That could work too. You're spending the same amount of money ultimately. I just like.
But if you're just on a budget, your PC's the way to go. In general,
again, there's no question there. If you're on a budget,
in the short term, that's the better way to route.
Yep.
All right. Hope that helps.
Depends. Just depends. Let's see. If Adam wants to know, do you know any sample project for .NET from which we can learn a lot and where we can download it? Seems like a plant question, but
well, you can't download it. You got to build it.
You can't download it, and that's actually by design. You want to talk about that too?
That's by design, man. We get so many complaints about this. Can you just give me the GitHub? No. Why? It'd be so much easier if I could just look at the code when I'm writing. People literally tell me this. If I'm typing in this code, I could do so much faster if I could just download it. I'm like, yeah, but you won't learn anything.
Yep.
Again, we want you to learn stuff. I know that we probably should just download the bug tracker and just expose it on GitHub, and then everyone can just install it or whatever. Here's what it does. Number one, it devalues you as a learner. Everyone says, well, you can just go download that. Did you just download it, install it? I mean, like, did you really build this?
Right.
Well, if you go to Coder Foundry, you actually have to type in the code to get it to work. And we think that has a high value.
Well, that's literally the job.
No other course creators do, because they want you to go the easy route. And that doesn't necessarily lead to employment. These things lead to employment because you know how to code. So, yeah, you'd have to buy the course from us and get the bug tracker.
You know, that's something I haven't really thought about it that way, but that's kind of true, right? We don't go for the, like, we don't want you to kind of feel warm and fuzzy after the end of it. Like, if you feel that way because you've coded it and you've done it up, great. But that's not our goal. That's literally not our goal. And I have seen other courses where it's like, they just want you to feel warm and fuzzy after it and get a 5-star review or whatever. And it's like,
we want you to get a job. We want everyone to come back here and say, dude, I built that thing. I showed it, I learned how to demo it, and I got a job. And we're like, that's what it's about for us. That's why we're a little bit different than everyone else. You know, we're just not course creators. So course creators that just give away the entire source code when they do it, it's fine. It's an approach, but they're not. You getting a job isn't of their highest concern. 5 stars on Udemy is their concern. You got to understand the difference between it. Our difference is we want you to learn something, to build something, and then to show it to someone and get hired. That's our job here at Coder Foundry. That's all we want to do, and that's how the self-paced course is structured.
Okay, Mika's question: If I just have an internship and other irrelevant work, should I just keep the internship, junior software engineer, or include the last 3 jobs?
Just put those last 3 jobs down at the bottom, but like...
Yeah, or maybe even just, depends on how far they go back. You may just be able to get away with just one of them and highlight your internship and the work that you've done at that internship. Because again, they don't really care, like if you were delivering pizza 5 years ago. It doesn't matter.
They don't care. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't really matter at all.
Yeah, just make sure that you can keep it to kind of a page. That's what you want to. That's what you want to aim for.
Yeah,
I've seen somewhere like those last 3 jobs, right? Let's say, for instance, they go onto a second page, and I'm like, you just, not only do you not need them in the first place, you're now making it really bad by putting the only thing on a second page, irrelevant experience. Like it
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm like, no, just take those off. Just do away with them. It doesn't matter. If they're going to do a background check or whatever, they're going to do that anyway. Like, if they need to know that, they'll ask you anyway.
Yeah, coding is a job of what have you done lately. It really is. Like, we have to convince seniors coming in, like, yeah, I've got 20 years experience. I want this on 14 pages. Like, nobody's reading those 14 pages.
I've seen those. Kelly has sent me resumes before to look at. And then seriously, I'm scrolling and scrolling. You joke 14 pages, but it's 14 pages. Like, we are not kidding. No
one's reading them.
14 pages.
The only page they're reading is the first page. And so what I tell people, like, if you do have a long and varied career of 20 years and you want to show every single company you work for and every single project, you need a 1-page synopsis of your resume and just deliver that. And then put the resume behind that. So it's like a cover letter / here's the highlights of my career summary resume, and just hand that sucker out. And then, oh, you want to see the full thing? Here's the PDF version, you know, and you just hand them,
and slap it on the desk, because that's what it felt like with this thing. I was like, some of the job descriptions too were like over a page long, and I was like, man, it says like, I didn't even read it because there was way too much detail in it, and I'm just like, does it say like got coffee at the 3 o'clock every day with my buddy John? Like, is that the kind of detail you had to go into, and does that matter? No.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed weird.
Seemed weird.
Okay.
I hope that helps, Micah.
Let's talk about Paul's thing here, because we've talked about this a little bit more recently. So just had an interview with a job that I really wanted outside of your portfolio. I can say soft skills and character are also considered, which I feel some people underestimate. We've talked about this internally recently, haven't we?
Soft skills are vastly underestimated.
Yeah.
Like if you can walk into a room and make friends with people immediately and be nice, I'm telling you, people hire people they like. It's just the way it is. And if you come in and you already have all of these defensive walls up and you're kind of grumpy coder guy, it's just you're going to get more no's than you think, you know. So for example, Kevin, I'm trying to hire a .NET dev.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hire a .NET dev. All right. So this guy has his resume out there. I hope he's watching because I really want to help you out. I really do. I'm not making fun of you. Yeah, but so the recruiter from here sends him an email and says, hey, we see that you have a .NET interest. Are you open to new opportunities? 2 lines, very simple. He probably gets 8 of these a day. Yep. What do I get? I get an auto reply from this guy with his list of demands that is like this long in the auto reply. It comes across and it's like, I need this. If you don't meet this, don't call me.
Wow.
And I can guarantee you, even if the company who was hiring the guy was trying to hire someone in that range, and it's like, oh yeah, we do all that.
It's not going to be
hiring you, dude. Like there is no way, you know. It's like, in other words, if you can't take the time to just respond to a recruiter that just simply says, hey, I'm not looking right now, appreciate the offer, keep me in mind for future opportunities. That's what you do. Yep. Very simple. Or just don't answer the email. An auto reply of your list of demands is it's like he kidnapped somebody and sent the demand letter to him, you know, like, you know, I'm holding him ransom. Here's my demands. It was just bizarre. You know, the other one was, I get the question back, hey, are you interested in pursuing .NET opportunities? If you are, we'd like to talk to you. And then the response from this guy was, and this is him knowing nothing about the job, nothing. We sent over, we have a layout of the job. We have the job application sitting out there. You know, you can go look at all the stuff. But his first question was, explain to me the company culture and why are you better than the 4 other companies that I'm currently interviewing for? What makes you better than those other 4? And why should I even waste my time with you? And we wrote back and just said, hey, thanks for your interest. We're going to look in a different direction.
Yeah.
It's negativity. It's
just like wearing the grumpy coder guy t-shirt in the like, it's seriously.
Before you even get an offer, man, it's just like, wow. Like, it's just, let's say that you are all that in a bag of chips. You do have all of those technical skills. And what Paul is saying here, let's say you are all of that. You deserve every bit of that. You are that smart. You are the guy that everyone wants to hire. You add nice guy on top of that, I guarantee you're going to make 30% more than you're making right now. I guarantee it. Like, you know, and if you can get along with everybody that you meet and make friends with people that you meet, you just win. Being nice is a superpower, man. I mean, like, I don't understand why people why they underestimate this. Just because you're in a position of power in an interview you don't flaunt it.
Right.
Just because you have the skill doesn't mean you should flaunt it in every relationship you meet. You know, and it doesn't mean that just because a company asks to see if you're looking and you got 8 interviews that day, that you should treat them with any less disrespect like you should be treated, you know? And so the moment he's looking, he's going to want to build relationships again with all these recruiters. And guess what? A lot of them are going like, man, I don't even want to put that guy in front of an interview. He's going to cuss out the person. You know, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there you go. So it's soft skills, communication, team playing, life. Like, plus, obviously, you have the technical skills to back it up, Paul.
I know,
that's the thing.
But he beat everyone else out because of that. You know,
the baseline. Let's say technical skills, but
I know Paul. So let's say that, and I'm not saying any of that. Let's say he's 100% of everybody, but let's say just in the case of, for argument, like Paul was 80% of this other guy. But this is grumpy coder guy. He's like really smart, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna work with Paul. We'll get it done.
Yeah,
you know, it's like we'll get it done. I don't. So you don't even have to be the best on the technical end if you nail these things. I mean, that's what people don't understand. It's very I get on a rant. I'm sorry to rant, but it just gets me fired up. You know, people just step on themselves all the time. Be nice.
Yeah. Jeez, man. Let's talk about this real quick. Just one last thing. I think it's not my first job training on an IBM AS400 company. I do about the future. I now have an offer for an Elixir developer or help me choose. Go for the other one.
Yeah, Elixir.
I know AS400 is still out there, but like, man, I can't believe anybody's buying a new AS400 these days. So it's like one of those things where maybe, I don't know. I worked on one back in, man, like 96.
It's been around for a minute. Mainframes.
Like 96, like that's a long time ago.
So let me say this with absolute certainty. The amount of AS400s that will be in production today versus 10 years from now will reduce.
Yeah.
Okay. Will it go away? I have no idea.
Probably not. It's
Is
too
it going to be
baked
smaller?
into...
I guarantee it's going to be smaller because of the way computing power is increasing over and over with the cloud. So when you look at cloud things, like the things you can do in the cloud, you just can't do with an AS400. Yeah, those things are quick and they are fast, but I get it. So if you're a COBOL programmer out there, I understand. You're like, hey, I'm going to make my living on this. You probably can. I'm just saying it is smaller than even a smaller pool. Yep. So if you want to do Elixir developer, that gets you into a more modern development. So go try that out for a while. Then go learn something else new and do that one.
And you say you have an offer too, so I would take that. That's me. Yeah. That's me. I would take that.
AS400 is definitely
so. It's niche. And
I'm
it's
sure
like
there's IBM salesman out there will tell me that I'm crazy and I don't understand. I'm like, okay.
It's like that same thing though too, right? It's that like people always say like, oh man, I know a Fortran dev and he makes $260,000. Yeah, and he's one of like 15. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, of course he does. It's ridiculously niche. Like, he's literally like an expert in it. He's like one of a few, probably 100 or at least 1,000. Right. He's probably a few thousand people that are doing it, right? It's like he's niche in it. Of course he can make that money. Are you going to break into it and make that money? No.
Nah.
It's just you're not. So
you have more opportunities with Elixir,
think
which
about
is
future
smaller.
Opportunities.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think you'll be fine there.
Okay. I think we're ready to wrap up.
We'll get one for the road and then we'll go. We'll get one more in. Who are you picking, Kevin?
Let's see. What do we got? We pick one that just came.
Yeah.
Let's
one for the road.
There you go. JP wants to know how to stay motivated when self-taught.
It's interesting. So one thing I tell every Code Advantage student coming in is like, is verbalize your why on something like why you're doing this on a Post-it note and put it on your monitor. And make that contract between you and yourself why you're doing this. It could be money. It could be lifestyle. It could be that, you know, you have physical problems doing physical labor and you just can't physically do that anymore. So coding, you can sit in a chair. There could be lots of reasons in and around that. Put that on that note. Read that thing every day. Tell yourself why you're doing this so that you can do it. The other thing is find cheerleaders in your around you that can help you cheerlead you on to bigger and better things. And then the other thing is remove people in your sphere that don't share that same belief that you have, you know, that kind of thing. That doesn't mean you don't invite them to Christmas or Thanksgiving. It just means that you don't listen, you don't value their opinion as much. A lot of people will think you're crazy if you have a lot of people around you that are non-technical and they all come from blue collar backgrounds and they're in pipe fitting and construction, and you're trying to learn how to do web development. They don't see that as an opportunity. They don't understand the opportunities here.
Right.
And therefore they think it's a waste of time. It's difficult when it's just as easy to go frame a house, but you don't want to frame the house. You don't want to change. You don't want to be a plumber. You want to be a coder. And so you have to motivate yourself while you're doing it by putting that thing up there and then try to remove the negative influences out of you don't value them as highly. So that's just kind of what I do. Hope that helps, JP.
There you go. Cool.
All right, cool.
We'll come back again next week. We'll do another portfolio review next week. We may add that into the regular mix here. Do a portfolio, do a Q&A, kind of mix them up a little bit, do more of those. You guys seem to like those last time, so I'll put out a form for that so you guys can submit that, and maybe we'll do a form every time. I'm not sure yet. We might bank some, we might do a form, because it's nice when the person asking is here too, to kind of like to be in chat. I like that as well. So maybe we'll do it like the day of, and I'll put those out, and you guys can feel like that and come and get your portfolio reviewed, or maybe we'll do some LinkedIn ones too. Maybe we could do that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks for all the questions. Sorry we didn't get to all of them. Hopefully we helped someone out today. And
yep, definitely.
So anyway, someone's talking about AS400s. Put this one up real quick.
IBM's power systems can still run AS400. That's what they've referred to as AS400. They also run secret.
Okay.
There you go. I haven't seen one in the wild in a long time, but I guess I'm not going into like corporate buildings to look around. You know what I mean? But man, last time I saw one, it was back in, I think British Airways had them. And the cargo side of British Airways was using them, and it's like, you know, green screen.
Maybe they're still selling those things, man. Those
I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. It's one of those things.
Still buying them.
Exactly. Once you get into that like ecosystem,
like, why the heck are you buying an AS400 to run Java? Like, I don't understand. I know it can run Ruby, but like that's where you spend your money. I mean, like, wow, that's the most expensive web server ever.
I don't know. I wonder what that point is. I wonder why they do.
I don't know, man. Like, you can run Java, so.
Exactly. Yeah. So can this server over here, which is like a tenth of the cost.
Right. And I can scale it. I can add as many as I want, whenever I want. You know, like, so even if you're an airline system, you're like, man, AWS makes all the sense in the world. Azure makes all the sense in the world. Yeah. You know, stacking AS400s in parallel. I don't know, man.
That doesn't
make much sense to me. Even if it can run Java.
Maybe.
And Ruby.
Maybe it's the future. Maybe the AS400 is actually the future, and we just don't know about it.
I'm gonna make a lot of people mad right here. I'm like, is it running Ruby really a feature? I mean, is that?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Mail can go straight to Bobby Davis, codefriend.com. Just don't involve me in that. That wasn't me that said that.
That's a feature? Come on. You know?
Yeah. Don't be messaging me about that. I don't want to hear about it.
We're just joking around. We're just joking. All right. Good luck. Have a great day. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Keep coding.
We'll catch you guys later.